Hi there, Lori and Tanya. Hi, Jan. Happy Wednesday. Facebook has been crazy this week. Typically, I can I watch on my computer as I'm doing the demonstration to kind of make sure I'm staying in the viewing screen and to try and watch comments. But when I do that, I like to enlarge the picture on my computer. But for some reason this week, every time I do it on Facebook, it freezes the video portion. So I have to see it small, which means I only see a much more limited number of comments also. So that's a little frustrating. So if I'm looking at the screen a little bit more, that's why I'm trying to keep an eye on that. Hold on one second. Somebody's trying to message me. Happy Friday. Karen, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you caught me live as well. Oh, did I say happy Friday? It's not Friday. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Gosh, what do we have for you today? Monday's Facebook Live, I did a 6x6 one-sheet wonder featuring the Dainty Flowers DSP with the Sending Support stamp set from Celebration. So we had one new mini product and one new Celebration product. And I will quickly show you those cards. And I'm almost finished posting it with the post. So hopefully I'll get that posted to my blog later tonight. I need to add the template for the one sheet wonder, but it's a simple one. It's an easy one. You make 3 cards with it. You use every single bit of that 6x6 DSP, and it's also very versatile. And in that video, you can see that as I'm demonstrating, I give people some ideas of how they can change up the layouts a little bit to just make your cards look a little bit different than mine. Give you a few more choices of ways to use that 6x6 one sheet wonder. There are just a few days left to order your Country Floral Lane class to go. Just quickly, here are the beautiful cards. You can use them for Valentine's Day, for anniversaries, weddings, just to send somebody an I love you message. All the information on that can be found on my blog, my new blog. Does anybody remember the web address for that? Super simple. You don't even need www. There's no type pad in it because now I'm with WordPress. If you had my blog saved in your favorites or bookmarked, you want to change that because I'm no longer working with TypePad. So I'm working with WordPress. So to get to my new blog, you just type in stampinpeace.com. Very simple, stampinpeace.com, stampinpeace.com. So information about the Country Floral Lane class to go is there. A new feature of this also is that when you go to the blog, you will see 12 pictures and the title of the blog post. So for some people that may have missed some post, or they're trying to go back and looking for a particular post with a particular video, something like that, it'll make it, it's much easier to search that way now. And of course you can still enter the name of a stamp set or whatever you think the title might be in the search box, and that will help you as well. But people are really liking that they can see pictures and titles for the most recent 12 blog posts. And more changes will be coming to that. Unfortunately, the person who was working on my logo, she's an artist, but she's also a new mom, has a 6-week-old baby. Both she and the baby were sick like 2 weeks ago, and now Anna has very bad case of strep and laryngitis. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get that logo. But as I'm learning more about using WordPress, I will be adding more features to the blog as well. I have been asked if I'm still selling PDFs on my blog. The answer is yes. You simply click on the word shop in the pink menu bar and scroll down to the bottom of the drop-down menu, and you will see PDF store. Click on that and it should work the same as it did previously with my old blog. All right, today I'm going to be using the Dainty Flowers 12 by 12 Designer Series paper from our celebration set. That is a product that coordinates directly with one of our newest bundles in the mini catalog, the Dainty Delight. It's a great stamp set, has an awesome die set to go with it, and it's also got some great sentiments in here. But tonight I'm going to show you how to use one of those sheets, this one sheet in this package of Dainty Flowers DSP. I want to make sure you know how to cut it so that you use it when you get this, okay? I'm going to flip my camera around now, and while I'm doing that, would you please share this live video and invite others to join us for tonight's creative demonstration. And once again, I'm trying out a little bit different video setup. So if I seem a little off today, that may be why. Just trying this out. Not sure that it's really going to serve my needs the way I want it to. I think I need to buy one more extension for my bar and then it would be good. Anyways, I want to first show you this beautiful Designer Series paper. And if you look closely, it looks like watercolor painted, flowers and leaves, foliage painted on watercolor paper. You can see the dimension. It's absolutely gorgeous. A lot of times Stampin' Up, oops, I didn't show you the back of that. A lot of times Stampin' Up will have their artists actually do paintings, whether it be with acrylics or watercolors, whatever. And that's where the design process starts for some of these DSPs like this one. And then they will work on it more, and then they end up taking photographs of the artist's work. And then, whoops, I guess that was upside down. This is one of those, I'm going to call it the split design DSP. We've worked with those several times. Great for scrapbooking. Great if you wanted to make maybe a piece of home decor with collage pictures on top. You want to just cut it in half. And it's also great, I've shown this, where you can make 6 quick and easy cards, or you can even cut them more narrow and use them to make some slimline cards. But this is the piece I want to work with today, because I feel like people look at it and they know what it's used for. Okay, let's do, you know, cut these out and make 6 different cards, or, and you can say 8 really because of those 2 in the middle. So they really know what to do, but they're a little bit nervous to cut it up. And I'm going to show you how I cut it. Some people might cut it differently, but I'm going to show you how I cut it, and I'll explain why as we go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out my wonderful paper trimmer, okay? If you look at each of these 6 oval wreaths, they're all the same, okay? They're all the same. At the top of each is sort of an open end, I'll say, and then the bottom of the wreath is closed. All right, so you got this little bit of an opening at the top, and then the bottom is closed. Same for the bottom row. So when I refer to the top and bottom, that's what I'm referring to. So I'm going to start by turning my DSP so that the top of it is to my left. And I thought I was going to be able to cut 5 inches, 2 inches, 5 inches. When I did that on my first sheet of paper, I'll show you what happened. You start cutting through some of the design in the middle, and I was trying to avoid that. So people may choose to cut this differently, but I'm going to tell you the way I found I liked best to cut this. And when I post this video to my blog, I'll be sure to have all this written out for you. But I'm going to actually cut at 4 7/8 inches. 4 7/8 inches. So that's like, if you look on the 5, it's 2 little notches over, okay? And I'm going to cut straight across. And then from there, I'm going to cut the center portion at 2 inches. Whoops. That was supposed to be 2 1/8. Darn it. Let me grab another one. Yeah, let me grab another one. I even wrote myself a little note sitting right here. 2 1/8, not 2 inches, Mary. Ugh. But that's okay. I'll fix that and use it for something else. But because this is a demonstration, I want to show you what I call my correct way. So now I have to find the right sheet here. Here we go. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so again, we have the top of the wreaths, and I'm going to have those tops to my left. Going to cut at 4 7/8. And then I'm going to cut at 2 1/8. Okay, 2 1/8. So on the other one, when I was cutting at 2 inches, which I think I even said to you, I didn't want to cut right into this part of the paper. It's too pretty to cut some of it off. Now this piece that's left is a little bit bigger than the other. This measures 5 inches. I want to cut this piece also down to 4 7/8 because I want these 2 sheets to be the same size. I'm going to cut all of these at once. So I'll be able to make, with these oval wreaths, I'll be able to make 6 cards. And with this 2 1/8 inch strip from the center of the DSP, I'll make another 2. So that's how I get 8 cards from one piece of Dainty Flowers DSP. Now this is 12 inches across. For the sake of making it as simple as I can, I'm going to go ahead and cut these at 4 inches. Now we can stop right there and use these as our card fronts. Let me pull out a card front so you can see what that is like size-wise. I'm going to pull this crushed curry one. So typically our card fronts are 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Right now, these are measuring 4 7/8 by 4 inches. So you can see what that's like. It's not quite even, top, bottom, and side. And you can decide for yourself if you like it that way or not. If I were using it this way, I might put a strip of something behind this. Like, say, let me just flip this one over. So say this isn't the one I would use, but maybe I would put a strip of the Mossy Meadow green cardstock behind it to set it off, okay? And then it's more of a layout rather than a unequal measurements, all right? It looks more intentional. The unequal measurements look more intentional if you put something behind it, ground it somehow, okay? Does that make sense? So here's one option, but I wanted mine a little bit more proportional. So I took those 4 7/8 by 4 inch wide pieces and I cut 2 at a time with my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. And I am just cutting off I want it to be 3 3/4, let me think. I want it to be 3 3/4 inch. So I'm going to start by cutting off 1/8 of an inch of DSP on each of the sides, each of the long sides. And that's how I go from 4 inches to 3 3/4 inch width. Okay, so now it all looks a little bit more proportional. Again, it's a matter of choice. If you're very content with the cards being this way, and we'll make one this way so you can see, all right? You can do it that way. There's no right or wrong, is there? It's what appeals to you, what's pleasing to the eye for you. Or you can cut it to a 3 3/4 inch width. I've got 2 of them together. And it's like that. You get a little more of the base color all the way around. So let me show you, first of all, these samples of 6 cards with the ovals. And here they are. This is on Starry Sky, and the colors I chose are the colors that are stated on the back of the package of Fancy Flowers DSP, okay? That's where I came up with the card base colors, all right? I didn't guess, I read it off the back of the DSP packs. Anybody else do that? Super easy way. It's also a great way for you to work with color combinations. Stampin' Up! Has made it easy for us by giving those color choices. So each one of those pieces of DSP, I mounted on Mossy Meadow cardstock, and then I added it to the card base. You get white inside. So this one is on Starry Sky. This one's on Fresh Freesia. This is on Old Olive, one of our classic greens, right? This is on Crushed Curry. So the first 3 have bows on. Now you're going to see I pulled in the sentiments from the stamp set. So this one's on Crushed Curry, and I have Thank You for Your Kindness. Always remember to send those thank you cards. A little thank you goes a long way. Celebrate you. So many reasons you can use a card with the sentiment celebrate you. It could be a graduation, a birthday, promotion, a new job, bridal shower, all kinds of things, right? And then you're going to love this. The best is yet to come. Again, think of how many different occasions you can use this for. Graduation was the first thing that popped into my head. Perhaps a move, cross-country move, something like that. But look at this. It has a sentiment to pair with it. The best is yet to come, sending love during the season of growth. Okay, now that changes things a little bit. I thought, what if, maybe for somebody that's newly single, lost a spouse or divorced or has been caring for parents for many years, but now it's time to spend some time just taking care of themselves and putting together a new normal, something like that. So again, I'll just tell you quickly, I used Mossy Meadow to mount each of the DSP pieces, and then Rich Razzleberry, Blushing Bride, Crushed Curry, Old Olive, Fresh Freesia, and Starry Sky. So let's make a couple cards with the ovals, and then I'll show you a way to use that strip to make 2 more cards. So I'm going to start with the DSP that I cut a little bit smaller. So the total size of this is 4 7/8 by 3 3/4 inches. So I went just a little bit larger on the Mossy Meadow cardstock to mount it on. This measures 5 inches by 3 7/8 inches. And I'm just going to put this on a Crushed Curry card base. And then let's add a little sentiment. I've using Pear Pizzazz to stamp my sentiments on. So I'm going to stamp Celebrate You. And I'm going to punch it out with my double oval punch. Just kind of get it centered there. And now I'll put this on some dimensionals. Love that double oval punch. And I could layer this on the larger oval, but I wanted it more simple. But that's another option for you, to punch the larger scalloped oval and layer the small one on top of that, excuse me, larger one. And now I would say take your time to just go around and play with that sentiment and see where you like it. Some people might like it at the very bottom. Some people might stick it right in the center of the card, in the center of that oval. I kind of like mine set off to the side a little bit. And because I have Crushed Curry card base here, and we've got all this, the pretty yellows and oranges right there, I didn't want to cover up any of those flowers. So I'm going to put mine right here. Okay. Now let's make one that's the 4-inch width. and we'll see the difference there. Now, if I were to mount this, I really would be going pretty close to the edge of my card front. So instead, like I showed you earlier, I'm going to add a cardstock strip behind that piece of DSP. And this one happens to be 2 1/4 inches. I want it to be 5.5 inches tall so that it goes to the top, from the top right to the bottom of the card base. And I'm going to put it right in the center. You could even play around with this. Maybe you would like it all the way to the fold and then mount it that way. That's kind of pretty too, and different. But I'm going to put mine right in the center, just like that. And then adhere my DSP over it. And remember, this piece of DSP measures 4 7/8 inches high, just like the first piece. But it's 4 inches wide instead of 3 3/4 wide, like the first piece of DSP. Okay. Now we can add another sentiment, or we can add a bow. Anybody have a preference, sentiment versus bow? And we will be adding an embellishment. And I think I've picked the perfect embellishment. Okay, so for ribbon, for choices of both, oh, I missed that comment. Like I said, Facebook's being very quirky again this week, so it's not showing me very many at once. Okay, some people not sure, some sentiments. One without the green stripe. Okay, we're gonna go with a bow this time just because I want to show you something different. So here's a few choices of bows. We've got this old olive one. We've got this natural color ribbon. I kind of like that. We could also, oh look, I have this gold shimmer bow out. And then we have this very pretty vanilla satin sheer with metallic gold in there. And I think this really adds some elegance to the card. Any thoughts? Gian says the green accent color. Okay, let's try that. And I think it was Ruth said she'd still like to see a sentiment on there. So let's see if we can add both. I've got this little banner already cut. It's 3/4 inches wide. I started with it being 2 3/4. I cut off, I banner cut one end with my banner's Pick-a-Punch so that it is the right size to stamp the sentiment. Thank you for your kindness. And you have to pull it a little bit closer to me so I can look over the top. Try to get it straight on here. Let's see how I did. Doesn't want to fall off. Come on. There we go. Oh, pretty good, Mary. Please tell me I'm not the only one that talks to myself, gives myself a little encouragement. So I think that's really pretty. And I think we could still put a bow with that. All right. And now Kathy's saying she thinks the green should be the same. The reason I didn't go with a dark green cardstock for the banner is I think it would be too dark for the sentiment. Okay. So that's why. But you can certainly try it and see what you think and how that works for you. There you go, Ruth. I knew it. Cindy also. Thank you. And yes, sometimes I even answer myself. So I'm going to put this right here, not quite to the edge, because I'm going to add a bow right here. I think just like that. I was going to use this bow, but I think I'm not, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because now I have 3 greens going in a very small space. I've got the pear pizzazz, mossy meadow, and the old olive. So I think I'm just going to use this, but we'll use that old olive card or ribbon on the next card. That old olive ribbon and the natural color ribbon, I think the natural color ribbon would work too. It's just a more subtle look to it. But these two are a ribbon combo that go with the Happy Forest Friends suite in the annual catalog. But I like to just pull out a few ribbons at a time and just kind of, you know, lay them out across my cards, play with them, that sort of thing. Okay, for embellishments, I pulled out the brushed brass butterflies. I finally got myself another package here. And I'm just going to add just a few butterflies. I'm going to put this one, I think, right here. Maybe right here, going that direction. And then I'm going to add 2 of the small butterflies. I think, let's see. I want it more balanced. How about, no, I kind of like it here. Just like that, okay? I love those little brass butterflies in there. Kathy says, fabulous choice. I'm glad you agree. Yes, Kathy, you can always color your ribbons with our Stampin' Blends markers. And put this here. Add a few more butterflies to this card. Just like that. Okay, very pretty, very pretty. I really like them. And I will add the basic white to the inside. Now, writing on this, sure, the letters, the words would show up. I think that color's kind of bam, bold, pretty bright for writing and reading on. So I always like to add white to the inside. I think just having white on the inside makes it easier for me to read as I'm writing my notes and messages. And I think it's easier for the person receiving the card to read the notes as well. All right, let's make, and again, don't forget you end up with 6 of those oval wreaths. So with these 6, you can make 6 cards like I showed you earlier, right? Showed you all these. You can mix and match all the colors, but you get 6 cards. Now, we're going to deal with this 12-inch by 2 1/8 inch strip that we cut from the middle of the designer series paper. And with this, I'm going to use it to make 2 cards. and I'll show you how I cut it. I just went ahead and cut it in half at 6 inches, right in the middle. And then I'm going to cut these both down to 5.5 inches. So out of that entire piece of 12 by 12 designer series paper, I'm going to make 8 cards, and these are my scraps. These 2 little pieces, 1/2 inch by 2 1/8. Those are my little scraps. So virtually have wasted next to nothing, okay? And then, Sandra, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you do envelopes at the same time? If I'm stamping envelopes, I typically will do a set of cards and then go back and stamp envelopes all at the same time. Or if I'm adding DSP to them, I usually do make a minimum of 2 cards at a time. So I will complete the cards, and then I'll go back and add any stamping I want to the envelopes, or if I want to put DSP strips on them or cover the back flap with DSP, I do it that way. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right, with these, I'll just do one. For the sake of time, I'm doing one. I am leaving at 7 a.m. on Friday morning to drive to Cincinnati, from Columbus to Cincinnati, for my creative escape weekend. I have 60 women attending, and it starts on Friday at noon, and some stay through Sunday, others stay through 4 p.m. on Monday, because that's a federal holiday. So we have an optional Monday that I offer. And so I'm in the midst of finishing everything up, getting ready to pack all my bins and such to pack my car tomorrow. So it's a little bit hectic around here in the Stampin' Piece studio. Okay, I don't want to just put this on. I could, very simple card, right? But I want to do a little bit more, but still keep it simple. So what I am doing is adding some Old Olive cardstock. And I am cutting this a little bit differently. Usually I do my first card layer 5 1/4 by 4 inches, but occasionally I like to change things up. So I am cutting this one at 5 1/2 inches by 4 inches. So this piece is going to go all the way to the top and bottom of my card front. Notice too that my card bases are cut in the opposite direction. I still get 2 from one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock, but instead of scoring at 4 1/4 and then cutting at 5 1/2, I did the opposite. I scored at 5 1/2 and cut at 4 1/4. So the card bases still are the A2 size 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, but I just changed up how I cut them. So now, by adding the Old Olive piece that measures 5 1/2 by 4 inches, I'm nearly covering up that entire card front, but just adding a little bit different look by letting some of the mossy meadow show on each side, but not at the top and bottom. And then I'm going to adhere this towards, and again, I could do this right in the middle. I could do it to the right side, to the left side. I could angle it and cut off what goes beyond the edges but I'm going to put mine towards the right side. And this is where, before I adhere my DSP, this is where I want to use this old olive ribbon. And I'm going to, now you could just make a bow and adhere it, but I wanted to do a little bit more. So I'm going to go all the way around that card front. And when you do this, before you tie your bow or your knot, make sure that the ribbon on the inside is flat, okay? You want that ribbon on the inside flat. You don't want to make your bow and finish your card and then open up the card and find that the ribbon is twisted back there, because that just doesn't look as nice in there. Whoops, my fingers don't want to tie this bow. Okay, I'm gonna make this just a little smaller by pulling the ends. And I'm gonna trim those ends. And then I wanna tell you a couple things about this bow, give you a couple tips here. Okay, I'm going to adhere this DSP right here, okay? I'm going to do that right now, and I'm just going to put my adhesive at the top and bottom of that DSP. Slide it under my bow and adhere it right there. Now, if your bow is over, maybe too far to the left, let me do this. Maybe it's over too far to the left after you've tied it. Or maybe it's getting bunched up against this DSP. Here's the trick. You simply just pull a little curve, use your fingers and thumb to pull a little curve in your card front, and then you'll be able to slide this ribbon real easily. Okay, just like that. And I want it pretty close up to that DSP. You can also move that ribbon up or down. Maybe you want to see how it looks closer to the top, okay? So think about that. Now, my other tip, when you wrap ribbon and then tie a bow like this, and here's another reason why I only put my adhesive in the top and bottom for now. If you get that bow tied and this is just a little bit loose and you don't want it that loose, just take some of your adhesive or even a piece of just like household tape, and you can, what I do is just take it with my fingers and I pull it. I hope you can see that. I pull it, so there's where the slack is. I'm going to snip that slack, and then I'm just going to tape those ends in place. So now this ribbon stays in place. It doesn't have all that slack, and it's not, that ribbon and bow is not moving around up and down. Because did that ever happen to you where you tie your ribbon around something, you make the bow, and then you realize, oh, it's way too loose? And then what do? We want to untie the bow. We want to start over. And that can be very, very frustrating. So if that happens where your ribbon is too loose, just do what I did. Gather up the slack. Trying to make this just a little smaller and neater. Gather up the slack with your fingers, snip it with your paper snips, and then hear those ends in place. And you'll be all set, and you won't have put yourself through the frustration of having to start over, remake the bow, and all that. because stamping and card making and paper crafting is supposed to be fun, right? Fun, not stressful. Okay, so, oh, we should add some butterflies, right? I know if I don't, somebody will be like, wait, Mary, we need a little bling. So this is what I'm going to do. Butterfly here, and one up here, and one right there. Okay, so in today's Facebook Live, I showed you how to cut that one piece of designer series paper, Dainty Flowers designer series paper from the Celebration brochure, and specifically the one with all of the oval wreaths and then the strip down the center. All right, these are the three that we made. Quick and easy layouts, easy to replicate with other designer series papers, even some stamped images. And now on these, and this is what I whipped up, literally whipped up. I didn't spend a whole lot of time making these this afternoon. Now I didn't add the butterflies, so that would be one step. And then I made two of these. So in probably, oh, I don't know, hour and a half, you can make 8 cards. We just made 3 cards in 45 minutes. But that's with me talking, that's with me giving announcements at the beginning, answering a few questions, stopping to show you various tips. So we could have easily made more in that same time frame. So you've heard me say before, if I'm making 1 card, I want to make 2 or 2 or more. This is a great way for you to make lots of cards. Maybe you need a lot of thank you cards. Maybe you are in need of several sympathy cards, or you're getting ready for to send out February birthday cards and you need a bunch. This is a great way to for you to make a nice set of 8 cards all at once. Or if you don't need all these right away, I would still make the 8 cards from that one sheet of designer series paper and put them in your stash. I hope everybody has a card stash. I know you make a lot of cards, we send a lot of cards, but if you always do, for example, if you're making 1 card, maybe I need a baby card. But if I make 2 baby cards, put 1 in my stash and 1 to send right away as I need it, then I'm building up my card stash. So on those days when I need a card, but I don't have a whole lot of time to make one, I can pull cards from my stash. They're also fun to let my family come in, I say shop in quotations. As Andrea told one of her friends, that because I told Anna when she brought her friend Anna over, I said, Andrea brought her down here to see my studio, and Anna commented on all the cards I had. And Andrea said, oh, Anna, that's just the beginning. She has hundreds more. And I said, yes, Anna, you've moved and live close to me, 5 minutes away. You can come shop from my card racks anytime. And Andrea looked at her and said, by shop. And oh, I think I said, and you get the family discount. And Andrea said, when Mom says the family discount, that means you can come over and pick them free. But I'm able to do that, share that with them, because I always make, an extra card or 2. Or if I have a piece of DSP like this that allows me to make several at one time, I do that. Okay, yes, Jeanne, thank you. The name of the DSP is Dainty Flowers. It is in the Celebration catalog. On page, shown on page 6 and 7. And I want to point out to you, right up here, it's got MC page 55. In the mini catalog, the new mini catalog, we've got a coordinating bundle for this designer series paper. And here it is, that Dainty Delights. So you can make wonderful cards combining this with the DSP you would get free. So you can purchase the bundle with any $50 purchase, whether it be this bundle or something else. With any $50 purchase, you could choose this designer series paper as one of your freebies. And there are several other choices in here as well. And there's even a couple choices for a $100 purchase. You know what, Lori, that's a great way. Did everybody read Lori's comment? My son's girlfriend asked for cards. I just lost it. Asked for cards, and it makes me feel wonderful. Yes, when somebody's asking, can they take some of your cards? Can they have some of your cards to send? That's a compliment. That's huge. That's a huge compliment. So, so consider that the next time you make cards. But I definitely hope that you will perhaps place an order, choose the fancy or Dainty Flowers 12 by 12 designer series paper, and use my guide today to make those 8 cards with 1 sheet of the DSP. And don't forget, there are 2 of those sheets in there. So actually we could make 16 with those 2 sheets if you want, which I think I might do, because I'm starting to get birthday cards for my teams ready for the next few months. All right, any questions? You're probably wondering what you should type in the comments so you can have your name entered into the drawing to receive one of these cards. Please comment Dainty Flowers DSP, okay? Dainty Flowers DSP. And remember, that's a celebration exclusive. You can get it free with a $50 order. Okay, Tony, maybe I gave you the push to make those 8 cards. Let me see if I can flip over to the other screen to see all the comments. It's not working over there. Come on, Facebook. That is very frustrating. Oh well, as soon as the video ends, I will go through all those comments and see if there were any questions that I missed. I apologize, but Facebook gets quirky and sometimes I can't help it. Okay, Dainty Flowers DSP in the comments if you want to have your name entered into the drawing to receive one of these beautiful cards. I do want to let you know that because I have my Creative Escape weekend in Cincinnati Friday through Monday, I will not be doing live demonstrations on those 2 days as I usually do. I think it would be fun to do just a quick impromptu Facebook Live from the event so you can see what it's like. But I'm a person that really lives in the moment, and I often forget to take pictures and do things like that. So I'm going to ask one of my helpers to remind me to do that, just so you can get a look at all the fun we have and kind of what we do at those events. And that way I can still pop in and say hi and stay in touch. Okay, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week and happy stamping always. Thanks for joining me.